NFC West head-to-head mock draft time, all brought to you by our friends over at Legendary GM. All right, Mike, here's what we did. Head-to-head mock drafts, 3-rounders. We did them separately, tried to keep it realistic, even though we ended up with the same results for certain teams. So let's start with the Arizona Cardinals. We really did this independent of each other. So we both came up with the same exact 3-round mock, this best-case scenario for the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray, Jerry Tillery in the 2nd round, and then Andy Isabella, wide receiver, in the 3rd round. What went into your reasoning for finding the same players as me?
Yeah, the Murray one, pretty obvious. Number 1 player on our big board. That one, pencil it in. Jerry Tillery, though, the Robert Nkemdiche pick has not necessarily worked out. He has not been an interior disruptor like they had hoped. Jerry Tillery can be that guy, so I think if he's there at the top of the 2nd round, you can eschew some of your offensive line wide receiver needs because the wide receiver class will be deep. You'll get a good one at the top of the 3rd, which...
Like Andy Isabella.
They do, yeah.
That was exactly my reasoning. I love the idea of finding a playmaker for Kyler at the top of the 2nd round. Could be a Marquise Brown, could be a Hakeem Butler that are available there, but if Tillery's there, too tough to pass him up. But then Isabella was still there in our respective mock drafts, a speed receiver similar to Marquise Brown.
And this is a team that, while you'd love to fill offensive line need, you'd love to give Kyler Murray some help, it's a full rebuild. You know, there are multiple positions of need. You go value over simply filling needs along the offensive line because you want to give your quarterback the best chance. You can go sign some free agents next year and do that after his rookie season, but find the best player available. Get game changers if they're on the board. We think Tillery is, so go get him.
So nice job. Good job. Yeah. Nice draft there for the Arizona Cardinals. Let's move on to the Los Angeles Rams picking at number 31 overall. I think they're in a fascinating spot, Mike, because cornerbacks could drop, and in my scenario, DeAndre Baker did drop. It's not a massive need, but a place where, you know, they brought in Marcus Peters, who wasn't great last year, continued to replenish. That's why I went DeAndre Baker, one of the top corners on our board. It was too much value for me to pass up in my 3-round mock.
And I mean, we saw it last year. Aqib Talib was hurt the majority of the year. I mean, like, those guys he is at the age where it might not be, you know, it's not necessarily a long-term solution there for them. So if you see a talent like DeAndre Baker, you go ahead and take a very valuable position. I went Winovich because I think he will make some day one impact, one of the most NFL-ready pass rushers, in my opinion, already almost 24 years old. So I think that is going to make that's going to make a big impact year one for a team with a Super Bowl window that is right now.
And then they had 2 3rd-round picks, no second. I'm going Anthony Nelson. There's that edge need on my board. And then Chuma Edoga, the developmental offensive tackle out of USC, I think would be a perfect fit for the Rams to sit behind Andrew Whitworth.
Yeah, we both go developmental tackles.
Just
I think that makes a lot of sense. Titus Howard, Alabama State, we love him as a 2nd rounder, did very well at the Senior Bowl. Then I went Tavon Coney. I think linebacker position, probably one of the other biggest needs outside of edge on that roster. And he's another guy who I think is NFL ready, can come in from day one. Maybe doesn't have that big upside of other guys, but I think he's a quality player that can step in right away.
Just want good football players. Don't need that upside, Mike.
Yeah.
Quick break to tell you about our friends over at Legendary GM. The Pro Football Draft is coming up on April 25th, a special time for fans and a frustrating time for many hardcore fans who know the draft could have gone better for their team. Did you ever question your general manager's draft selections? Have you ever said, I could have drafted better than this? Introducing Legendary GM, the first ever platform that allows you to draft for any pro football team. Draft against your GM and draft against your friends to see who knows best. Legendary GM is simple, fun, and will give you bragging rights for years to come. Unlike traditional fantasy football, Legendary GM is easy to set up and manage. Draft players your team really needs and get rewarded when your players perform during the season. Finally, there's an alternative to traditional fantasy football. So what are you waiting for? Prove you know better than the pros, the experts, and your friends. Go to legendarygm.com now to sign up. And if you use the promo code PFF, you can invite up to 9 additional friends to play for free until the start of the regular season of the NFL. That's legendarygm.com. All right, moving on to the 49ers here. We're similar again. We're both going Nick Bosa with the 2nd overall pick. I think this is a slam dunk if Kyler goes number 1 overall.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Bosa, if they're not trading back, he should be the pick. You have D Ford, you add Nick Bosa, who I think can step in right away and be a plus pass rusher. You get those 2 guys, and all of a sudden you went from one of the worst edge groups in the league to arguably one of the best.
All right, now the 2nd round on the turn, I think, is a great place for the 49ers to fill a couple needs, whether it's coverage on the back end or wide receiver. We both went coverage. I'm going Amani Oruwariye from Penn State. I think his size and movement skills fit their scheme perfectly. Would love the value there at 36, where you started to double up on safety with Darnell Savage.
Yeah, safety, big issue there a season ago. They ran through the gamut of guys at the safety position. None of them could play whatsoever. None of them could play. Look, so many busted coverages there on the back end. Just bring in more than one. More than one guy is necessary there to solve that problem. So Darnell Savage, free safety. Juan Thornhill, box safety. Call it a day.
Thornhill also has the size and former cornerback skills that a team like the 49ers might try him at cornerback. Yeah. They have been known to do those types of things. I'm going Deebo Samuel. He was available in my three-round mock at number 67 overall. Might not be realistic come draft night, but would love that fit as a nice route runner for Jimmy G over there. And now let's go to the Seattle Seahawks. We both had another same pick, Jonah Williams, because other mock drafts, even though we have him as a top 5 player, they have him dropping, and if he's available, the Seahawks, I think, would have to take him at 21 overall.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily sure he'd be tackle right away, but I'd probably play him at tackle right away there for them, considering what they've gotten at the right tackle position of late. But even if you're kicking him into guard, he's getting an upgrade in terms of pass protection. To me, he is the top offensive lineman in this class, so if you're getting him anywhere outside of 10 to 15, that is going to be one of the steals of the draft.
You might see him in a few other of our 3-round mocks. So Jonah Williams there, no second rounder for Seattle. I'm going edge, Ja'Kai Polite. I think number 84 overall is a great spot to grab him. The guy that really struggled at all of his workouts, but was very good on the field for Florida. And you're going with Isaiah Johnson. That's such a Seattle pick, Isaiah Johnson,
Seattle
corner.
Pick. They love the traits over necessarily production in college. He has all the tools. If you would build a cover 3 corner for their system, he would look like Isaiah Johnson. Only just switched from wide receiver to cornerback a couple of years ago. Needs some seasoning. Maybe not ready to start right away, but a few years down the line, he has the potential to be a special player, and it's showed some of it on tape already.
Could definitely see that happening for Seattle. So there you have it. It's our NFC West head-to-head mock draft, all brought to you by Legendary GM.